think it was in 2004. So it's quite a while ago. I first heard about a group called TeamTV from a chap at the local video store. He gave me a leaflet that had been left behind for people who are interested in filmmaking, just saying, you know, we meet every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock at the pub, come down and, you know, see what it's all about. So I did. I went down there one evening and sat up in this rather strange pub. I think I shouldn't have been in the pub, actually. I was underage at the time, but all a good bit of fun. I sort of sitting waiting and trying to figure out who were the filmmakers in this pub, little realising they met in the basement. But one of their founding members came up to me and just said, "Oh, are you here for the film group?" I said, "Yes, please, thank you." And took me downstairs, and I met everyone. And at the time, there were about 10 people, I think, of varying positions. You know, some founding members, some people from the local college who'd come along. Quite an eclectic mix, really. And they were in the middle of producing a new film. They just finished their first film, which was called Reformed, which was released in 2003. And I'd seen that, and I saw it and thought, it's an interesting one, because the production values weren't incredibly high on it, but the film was quite a pleasure to watch, and you're thinking, wow, for a first film, this group has got something interesting going on. And I think it was the passion behind it that everyone had, actually, that really did for that. So yes, they were in the middle of producing their film, and they welcomed me quite readily, despite the fact I had no idea what was going on. And so I watched some of the things that they were doing, you know, rehearsing scenes and doing screen tests and preparing for things. So there's a nice blend of sort of practical and theory going on, and it was just really interesting to see. So I've been with TeamTV for 2 years by the time I came to do my A-levels, and the stuff that I'd done with them certainly helped in the practical aspect and some of the theory aspect of my A-levels, because TeamTV was the first opportunity I'd had to work with lots of other people at once rather than just friends or family who were interested, and especially more expensive equipment than just, you know, your general home use camcorders. You know, we were using things like cranes and dollies and more semi-professional equipment. So actually having the opportunity to be on set and see how, you know, the structure worked and how it should work, I think really helped things along.
And what role did you play in the film?
I was buying a car off a very enthusiastic salesman on Kenwick Road.
What part did you play in the film?
Paul stopped his car and said, "You're just the person I want. I want an aged man." So I was an aged man and had to walk much slower than I usually do, despite my 88 years.
My name is Gintare, and I played a part of the bitch.
Paul is a neighbour of ours, so we live in the same street, and he's a real character in the street, actually, and that's how we know him. We've known him for about 4 years, so good friend.
My name's Paul Brodie. I wrote the piece and directed the piece.
Right. Was it a comedy?
Was it a comedy? I'm not sure. Yes, sort of. Yes, yeah.
I was not actually aware of it being wildly funny, not even when Paul put me into things where I was nearly run over by a real car. I just don't know what sort of film it was in toto.
Yeah, it's quite a good question, actually.
What sort of film was it? Was it a comedy?
Yet it's a Mickey take on The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
It was very much sort of spontaneous. You know, there wasn't much. You know, it wasn't really scripted. It was fairly fluid. So we had lots of fun doing it, actually, with Martin, the salesman. It was all quite, you know, quite fast. So it was quite fun.
I have no idea what the rest of the film was all about.
Have you had any previous experience in films or acting of any sort?
Acting in school only. Well, though I was getting the main roles.
So what was your favourite thing you played at school?
Well, I was always a bad, guy. I was witch. I was a fox that eats a poor rabbit on his way to school.
I've been on the other side of the camera through advertising, but not as an actor. No, never.
I quite enjoy trying to pretend I'm somebody else for a short while.
More of my background is I'm a singer-songwriter, so I write a performer, and it doesn't. For me, it's all a narrative for whatever story you're telling. So whether it's music or film or any, whether it's just the written word. So I'm happy being the singer at the front. I'm happy acting. And I'm equally happy being on the equipment, cameras, sound and that kind of stuff. But this time out I just felt that I wanted to be not a part of that. I just wanted to be one step behind it and see if I could organise everything in front to fall into place. So I'm happy being everywhere. I'm happy with the title I'm an everyman.
What did you like best about the filming?
It was really fun because the crew was very supportive and really relieving the stress during my first ever shooting.
Well, I think one of the really remarkable things about TeamTV as an organisation is the fact that they're really willing to welcome anyone, and these people come from all walks of life as well. I joined as a student still at school. You have people who are just interested, they've got their regular jobs, but they're interested, they've got a hobby, they've got a passion, and you do have people coming in and out who've worked in the industry before. So you've got a complete range of people, and especially for the younger members, it gives them a bit of knowledge and a bit of confidence, and of course one or two things that they can put on their CV, and then they can go along and use that in freelance work or even moving into television and film. I know we have 3 or 4 members who have made the leap into doing multimedia and media more professionally and have used TeamTV as a bit of a springboard. So I think it's incredibly valuable. The bit that's really critical, I think, is that the group and all the members of the group are protected. So we won't actually end up getting into any legal scuffles or money issues or arguments over it, because that's just going to slow the whole thing down and make it unfeasible. Future of TeamTV, as a group, it has quite a lot of potential. It would be interesting to see how things change with the membership over time. It's the group is only as much as the members who come along on a regular basis and have creative and technical and other input, because we all help each other out. So in that sense, it has almost infinite potential to grow and or also just to fall apart and stop. I hope it carries on. I found it an incredibly valuable group. I made a lot of friends. I had a lot of fun, and we made a lot of movies together. So I hope that other people will find it as useful as I have.